Our first topics, I don't know if y'all heard. So it just broke a story about an hour or two ago that so everybody's been hearing like, oh wait, Scream 7 is well underway. They started filming officially. It makes a week. Now, there's been a lot of talk while they're filming. What's going on with Patrick Dempsey? When is Patrick Dempsey officially going to be announced? When is he going to sign on? What's going on with Patrick Dempsey? And all this other stuff. So, we now have word. What happened to Patrick Dempsey? Apparently, Patrick Dempsey is not going to be in Scream 7 because they're about to my Mark. But guess what? We are getting a Mark, just not Mark and Cade. So, Sydney's husband, it has been announced, is about to be played by none other than Joel McHale. And I have to say this, I like Joe McHale. Oh my God, I totally forgot to look up. And I'm gonna need y'all to drop it in the comments. I forgot to look up before the show started because I was scrambling trying to put everything together because I was running around like a chicken with his head cut off. Who was this? This ain't the first time Joe McHale's been in a horror movie and has played a killer. What was that movie that came out? I think it was on, I forget, it was on one of the streaming services. It might have been Netflix or one of them, where he played a killer. I think it was with Justin Long, right? Where he was unmasked as the killer. What was the name of that damn movie? It wasn't Totally Killer, I don't think. Or maybe it might be Totally Killer. Remind me. It was a Christmas movie. It's a Wonderful Night. That's what it was. Thank you, brain. It literally came to me as I was thinking about it. Joe McHale was in that movie. He played a killer. So there could be a twist of being like, you know what? Maybe he could be the killer in Scream 7. So if people think that there's no way that he could possibly play a killer in a horror movie, as I just stated, he has played a killer before. He was in a movie called It's a Wonderful Knife. Definitely check that movie out if you guys haven't seen it. And but he wasn't the only killer in that damn movie too. It was Justin Long. He was the other one. But so basically, according to Deadline, they said that in another surprise move for the Scream franchise, Patrick Dempsey's detective Mark Kincaid is not the husband of Neve Campbell's Sidney Prescott in the current timeline. A new piece of casting for the seventh film, which is now in production in Atlanta, sheds light on who is. So, Scream franchise final girl Sidney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell, has a husband, and it's not, Detective Mark Kincaid, played by Patrick Dempsey of Scream 3, as he has been speculated online. Now, set to play her spouse, Mark Evans in Scream 7 is none other than Joel McHale, who's currently in production on the film in Atlanta. Now, McHale joins the cast that also features Courtney Cox and Mason Gooding, who respectively play legacy characters Gail Withers and Chad Meeks Martin, which had, after being in two movies, be considered a legacy character at this point. How many, like, sidebar, how many movies do you have to be in to be considered a legacy character? I mean, Courtney Cox has been in all the damn Scream movies. So she's officially made history as like the only cast member to ever be featured in all 7 movies. Neve Campbell would have had that title had she had popped up in Scream 6. But she made history with that. So I would think that that would be a legacy character. I would have to say you guys to be in at least 3 or 4 movies more, not 2. Well, then again, this would make 3 with Chad being up in there. So that kind of debunks my theory. But anyway, let's get back into it. So they also said that newcomers Isabel May, Celeste O'Connor, Asa Gurman, McKenna Grace, Sam Reckner, and Anna Camp are also in the film. Now, while May is playing the daughter of Prescott, last seen in 2022 Scream reboot. Oh, they're talking about Prescott. I almost lost that. I was like, what? Isabel May wasn't in them previous movies, but I caught what you were saying. Now, they said further character details for new additions is still under wraps, as is the plot of the latest installment of the meta horror franchise from Spyglass and Paramount Pictures. Now, Kevin Williamson, who scripted the original Scream, is directing from a script by Guy Busick, aboard following collaborations with the scribe on the Scream reboot for Scream 6 are James Vanderbilt, William Chirac, and Paul Neinstein, who produced for Project X Entertainment. Now, the movie is set to come out on February 27th. We don't need to go into all the other details, but here's the thing. I'm not upset all about, him playing in this movie. They also said that McHale, he's been in a lot of things. He was in The Bear. I remember him from Community. I also remember him from Talk Soup. That's why I basically remember Joel McHale from over the years. And then my favorite was when he was a guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race, and he irritated the shit out of Michelle Visage. Yeah, he kept doing that a lot. So if y'all ever go back and watch that episode, that was a cackle for me. So Joel McHale is a comic and has been floating around other things. I also heard that he's going to be in the upcoming season of Yellow Jackets, which is a show that Jasmine Savoy Brown is on. Which, sidebar, we haven't heard if she's going to be coming back to play Mindy Meeks Martin, Chad's sister. So we don't even know if she's coming back. But we got confirmation that Patrick Dempsey. Well, there's not necessarily confirmation because he could possibly pop up. I don't think he is. I don't think they want to confuse the situation. Now let's get to the part where I'm sure people are probably up in damn arms over the fact that we're not getting Patrick Dempsey. Me personally, I'm not that upset about it. I don't feel no ways tied. People also need to reflect and look back on the fact that Mark and Kate is not a character that was created by Kevin Williamson. He was created by Aaron Kruger, who wrote Scream 3. Kevin Williamson wrote the first Scream, the second Scream, and the fourth Scream. So whatever's in those little worlds, and of course, because Guy Busick is the writer of this script, whatever characters they come up with, and I'm sure that Kevin Williamson has done some kind of tweaks and nips and tucks on that script, because ain't no way in hell I'm director and I'm a screenwriter first, and I'm going to just let your script just be what it is. I got to also throw a little bit of my isms up in there. So I'm assuming, I can't say this for sure, but I would assume that if you're a screenwriter who knows the DNA of Scream, that if Guy Busick is coming and putting his little isms on it, and trust and believe, I've had issues with Scream 6 and I've had issues with Scream 5. I do think Scream 5 is the more superior movie. There were moments in Scream 6 that I liked, but overall that script was a hot ass mess. And so I'm glad that in a way, well, we got Guy Busick coming back for Scream 7, but I would think that because Kevin Williamson has pretty much created the DNA of Scream, that he would throw a little bit of his extra sauce up on there to tighten and spruce up the script. So if people getting upset over the fact that Mark and Cade is not going to be in the movie because they're so meta with every little aspect of Scream, I don't know why you would be upset. Kevin Williamson has no ties to Scream 3. He had I believe from what I've heard, is that it took him a long time to get around to actually appreciating Scream 3 because his initial idea for Scream 3 was supposed to be what he eventually used as a plot for his TV show, The Following, which I've told you all about before, that The Following, I actually loved that show, where it was like a cult of serial killers and that sort of thing. So that was supposed to be a cult of ghost faces. That was going to be the plot for Scream 3. Instead, they decided to go in this little other direction. And he didn't particularly care for Scream 3 because Scream 3 was like, it was a little too over the top. It was a little too campy. And it's funny how and this might be the homosexual side of us coming out, because he said he liked Parker Posey. I like Parker Posey too. That was the only part of that movie that I actually liked. Parker Posey's over-the-top performance in that damn movie was the only thing I loved about that film. Everything else was a little too over the top. It was a little too campy. It did not really capture the overall tone of what a Scream movie is. Now, yeah, you could do the scary stuff and you could be meta with certain things. And yeah, they do throw a little self-deprecating jokes and stuff up in there. But I just felt like, to me, Scream 3 is the Thor Love and Thunder of horror movies, where it was just like, y'all just could not figure out what the overall balance and tone was, in my opinion, for that film. So Scream 3, while I watch it and I take it for what it is one of my least favorites of the franchise. I don't think we've ever necessarily gotten a bad Scream movie. I just feel like there's always elements in all of those films that I can kind of actually get with and dig. So the one thing I will say about this, I love this idea of them with the mark, because here's the thing. If y'all really paid attention to Scream 5, and I just watched Scream 5 like literally a couple of days ago. This is why this is fresh in my brain. I don't know, for some reason, I was in the mood to watch Scream 5, so I put it on. There's a line in the thing where when she's on the phone with, I think, Dewey, and Dewey goes, "How's Mark?" So they never mention a Mark Kincaid. They never mention a Mark anybody. A Mark, it could be any kind of damn Mark. Y'all assumed that it was going to be Mark Kincaid. And I do believe that there was technically behind the scenes, because Radio Silence did confirm that it was Mark Kincaid, but that's off camera. As I always say, if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. So you can say a whole bunch of things off camera, but if it's not officially asserted in as canon, you can play around with certain things and just come in and be like, you know what? We technically didn't say Mark Kincaid. We said Mark. So it could be Mark Johnson, Mark Long, Mark Evans, which is who they decided to go with, Mark Ramirez. It could be Mark, any kind of body with a name Mark. So it doesn't really, so you can play around with that. And that's what I always love about film. Film is not necessarily real life. Well, technically, film isn't real life unless it's a damn documentary that you're doing. But you can go around and play around and do all these other things, just like they do in a time jump, where 2 movies ago, Sydney had babies in a damn stroller, and now in a seventh installment, they damn near grown. So if you could play around with that, you could also do that with the name. So I say all this to say that I don't know why people getting all upset over the fact that Joe McHale or that we're not getting Mark Kincaid and that we're not getting Patrick Dempsey. And I think the reason why we're not getting Patrick Dempsey is, well, it could be a timing situation. Like shortly after Scream 7 wraps, he goes into filming Thanksgiving 2. So maybe it would have been too close for comfort for him to have to do one horror movie and then jump into another horror movie. Me, a check is a damn check. Like, I'm going to do what I got to do. But then again, if you have other responsibilities outside of, being an actor, then I can understand why he wouldn't want to do a back-to-back horror film. The other thing I did hear was that it was money, that he probably wanted more money. And you got to realize, okay, while we liked you in Scream 3, sir, you were not Courtney Cox, and you damn sure ain't Nev Campbell. So I don't know how you sitting around here trying to act like this is Grey's Anatomy type of negotiation. This is not Dr. McDreamy, who been on a TV show for 8 years or 8 seasons. Got to get TV technical. 8 seasons now. You want a bump in your pay because you've literally been bringing in the ratings. You are pretty much. I'm sorry, you're irreplaceable. So they could bring in any old person. And now what I like about the fact that you can bring in a Joel McHale, who we have no ties to, and this Mark Evans character, who we have no ties to, now we can all look at him sideways like, in the words of Randy Meeks, everybody's a suspect. So that's the way I look at it. So I say all this to say, you know what? Because like I said, the only reason why I'm being extra biased with the Scream franchise, and look, I have no problem saying that I'm being biased about something. I own my shit. So the only thing I will say about it, the only reason why I'm being biased about this is because it's Kevin Williamson's a part of it, is because Nev Campbell's a part of it, and Courtney Cox. We got the icons, the OGs, the people who've been with the franchise since the beginning. So I'm trusting that they know what they're doing over there. I'm going to hold out and I'm going to wait until this new trailer comes out, the official trailer, whenever that happens, probably be the end of the year. I'm waiting for the trailer, and then I'm going to wait for the movie. And then after that, I'll go in and I'll give my overall opinion. But right now, I've got a lot of high hopes for this movie. I'm really going to just keep my fingers crossed that everybody knows what they're doing over there and trust that they're going to do a good job. All the other political stuff, notwithstanding with the spyglass and all the other stuff, I'm not letting that affect me right now. I've already said enough times of my overall feelings on that in this show, so I'm not going to keep doing it. But I'm excited for this. So I say all of this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are you shocked? And also, are you excited to hear that Joel McHale has been officially cast as Sidney Prescott's husband in Scream 7? And I was wondering, like, what role will he possibly be playing? I don't think he'll be playing a cop. Maybe he's somebody who also works at the restaurant that she works at, because that's the rumor, that she actually owns her own business, that it's this restaurant type spot that they've been shooting at for the past couple, the past week, Celeste O'Connor and Mason Gooding. And also they just mentioned that McKenna Grace has been filming scenes in this place. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, okay, is this the place that Sidney Prescott owns? And if she is a owner of a restaurant or bar, whatever the case type of situation it is, I don't necessarily know for sure what this type of establishment is, but if she's working in the service industry, do you think that they have this joint business and they work together? So whatever your thoughts are on this whole Scream 7, the latest Scream 7 casting, I should say, let me know in the comments down below.